2, 3, 4. Okay. I have a couple of these here made out. Pass them out to a couple of tables, you might be able to follow me. I have one more here. You're the best. Happens to be 7. 3 from 11 is 9. And 2 from Yahi Ruby. And of course that's a foreign name. And how does that spell out to? It spells out to happy. Happy. So they're going to have a happy marriage. Sam, on the other hand, how can psychics be? One mind thinks about the other. Sam does the same darn thing. He goes to one of these plays, a beautiful couple. Mariette and I wish both of you a world of happiness and Nafis. And the year 2000, we will celebrate your 55th wedding anniversary. Let's all mark our calendar books, our appointment books, and say, year 2000, we have to have the 55th year anniversary. We love you all.
He and I got married on the East Coast. Is the rabbi here?
That's right.
He left? Instead of the rabbi, I will now call on a very, very worthy substitute. I can tell you that Joey Needle can give you an excellent drusha. Joey?
Kind of find it hard to follow a story about a psycho. Then if I had to follow the rabbi, I really would have been in trouble. However, before I came in, I was looking around the house for things for Bobby and Honey. And I'm not leaving this here tonight, but I'm going to display it for the rest of the evening. Two pictures. This one here. Okay, and I don't know where to put it. Maybe, Bobby, why don't you take it? And here's another picture I found, and I don't, why don't you take a look? Here's a picture that I found. I'm 50 years old now. I was born the same year Bobby and Honey got married, and I can't recognize the people in this picture. It's dated 11/18/1945. And I have no idea who is in here because I can't see that well unless I take out my contact lenses and get a magnifying glass, like my father-in-law does. So why don't you take this picture, and anyone who happens to have been around, I guess it looks like a piece of wedding cake in this picture. So why don't you take a look at this? So I'm going to quickly with Bobby and Honey. Their favorite grandsons, and of course their oldest granddaughters. I know, Bobby and Honey, that these past few weeks since your anniversary, November 11th, were filled with a lot of emotion, gifts, memories, out-of-town guests. And your wedding was 50 years ago, and there's got to be a lot of memories in those 50 years. Then again, if we look back in time, it was just the other day that Michelle and Ellie celebrated their first anniversary. And of course, it would have been Monday that Luke and I would have celebrated our 26th wedding anniversary. So there's a lot of memories and a lot of emotion in this 50th wedding anniversary. And as I was getting dressed tonight, and as you know, I didn't start working on preparing anything to say until tonight. But as I was getting dressed tonight, I was thinking of what happened about 27 years ago when I first met you. And I remember we drove it from St. Louis, Libby and myself. And I think we were supposed to arrive on a Friday morning, but surprised you on a Thursday night. And I wasn't feeling well. I had some disease that I found out later called quinsy or something like that, which was a boil behind the tonsil. And I was very nauseous. And we went that Saturday night to the movies. We saw Camelot at the movies, if you remember. But my first impressions were at Shabbos, when I was getting ready for Shabbos and taking a shower, and it was just like tonight. I said, this is amazing. I've never been in a shower where you have to turn the nozzle up. things don't change. I still go there and have to turn the nozzle up. Actually, that Saturday night I got sick, right? We were at Camelot and I got sick. And it's funny, the first time I met Michelle, my first words to you were, well, did you bark? And that's what I did the first time I met my future in-laws. I've been referring to honey in Broadway, and for those of you who don't know honey, and everybody in St. Louis knows honey, right? Honey's my father-in-law. We know him now, he's 25. And here's the little, you heard Bobby. You heard Bobby speak right there. You heard Bobby saying, honey, come here. Honey, do this. Honey, do that. Honey, look at this. You thought his name was Honey. And ever since then, everyone has been calling him Honey. And Sally calls him Honey. Everyone in school, all my friends call him Honey. My secretary calls him Honey. All I want to do is give you a model. And from a personal note, you are the kindest, the most generous, the loving, the most well-meaning people I have ever met. You have withstood the true test of love, marriage. There's a story about a Roman princess who went to...
I walked right out there. I just want to let Fannie and Sammy know how delighted we are to be here and celebrate with you, and to wish you all of the wonderful things that you should have in life. And just to let Sammy know again and again, is something I've told you over the years, how delighted we are to have you in the family, and part of our family, and to be my brother. And it's been wonderful. We just wish you very well. Everything is good.
You know, it ends up with all kinds of individual vignettes from a variety of perspectives and points of view. And Ike and I were talking before we came into Kansas City, and we decided that I could remember some things that I wanted to recall relative to the length of time that we had known Fannie and Sammy as a couple. And we put it into a little poem. It says, my memories of Fannie go back quite a way, a long time before she learned to say, hey. Although I'm a cousin, that didn't restrict her. Fan stood by the door when I dated her sister. As Ike and I were concluding our date, Fan would remind me that it was very late. This routine went on for quite a while, and to tell you the truth, it cramped my style. Then in 1945, the war was over and Sam was alive. So Fan went south to meet her Sammy, her first view of him and also his family. Things went well. Pretty soon they were married. Now my dates went smoothly, no longer harried. I was grateful to you, Sam. 50 years ago, you did me a favor and didn't even know. Now, Ike and I are pleased and delighted to honor the day you and Fan were united. We're here to pronounce a Shehecheyanu and wish you many more years because we love you.
But I was reminded of an incident that I wanted to tell you all about. When Fannie first came into the family, we were all living at Papa's house on 42nd and Wabash, and we had two staircases, one going down into the kitchen and one going down into the living room. We'd go from one to the other. Sammy was so delighted to have had sisters in his life,
But he could tease.
and he would stand on the landing there between the two staircases and catch whichever one was going or coming and grab us. And Fannie said, see, by marrying me, you got 3 sisters. Anyway, we want to wish you a mazel tov. You have been my wonderful big sister all my life, and you my brother, Sammy. Morris and I have put together, with the help of Karen and Bruce, incidentally, a little poem that we want to read to you. So I'll ask him to come forward now.
We have lots of fun doing these things, and you'll have to bear with us. It's a little bit lengthy. This is called On the Occasion of Fannie and Sammy's 50th wedding anniversary, 1995. During World War II, Fannie wrote a letter to make some soldier feel much better. The soldier was Saul Goldberg, Sammy's friend, who shared the letter that Fannie sent. Sammy thought the letter was a gem, a pearl, so he started writing to this same girl. He couldn't have known what was in store, that this would lead him to her door. Sam read her letters with his friends okay. He pored over them night and day. He fell in love with all his might, even though she was not yet in sight. They wrote to each other for several years. She tried to encourage him and dispel his fears. From the South Pacific, he soon returned, and for this day, they both did yearn. Upon his return, with his 2 flat feet, for Fannie he sent so that they could finally meet. She came by train and was a bit frightened, and as she approached, her excitement heightened. When they met at last, dissolved was her fear, though she noted he had not too much hair. And when he beheld his future bride, he knew he must have her by his side. His take-charge style and big blue eyes made her heart flutter and spirits rise. For them both it was love at first sight, no disappointment, it was just right. Despite the problem with his head and toes, at least he had a decent nose. He wooed her with his southern drawl, and in love with him she did fall. They married and lived in Jacksonville, but she yearned to return and to fulfill a dream she had to be in KC among her friends and dear family. In Jacksonville, they were quite prolific. Sammy's amorous skills were terrific. And 3 great kids they soon had. Fannie and Sam became mom and dad. Joe Schreiber, a brother-in-law, used his clout to get Fannie a license and help her out. Now she was free to go and come and join the ranks of a taxi mom. At last they came to good old KC, just where both really wanted to be. In the Papa's house on Wabash they came. The other Cohen kids had all done the same. Sam went to work at Peck's shoe store, where he developed a following galore. He always carried a large shoehorn because in a shoebox he was born. Today he's known by one and all as the best shoe salesman. He stands tall. Women love him and consider it a treat to have him fitting their Potemkin feet. We're reminded in Prairie Village they bought a home, and as we think more about this poem, on Booth Drive they sank their roots, and the crane Marvin planted developed new shoots. The satyrs hold special memories in mind. They will always remain one of a kind. Sam makes the best Horatius in town, and to find out the Cohen, he'll break a door down. Thanks to Ellie, Sam became Honey, a name so sweet, worth more than money. Honey plays cards every Tuesday night, and Fannie lets him go without a fight. Coupons and sales are Sammy's delight. When he buys groceries, the price is right. He'll drive 10 miles out of his way to find a bargain. It's surely okay. The written word is Fannie's passion. She never wasted time on fashion. For eighths, she consults Heike and Evie, who love to give advice most freely. Though Fannie was the first one born, Louis takes this fact with scorn. When she makes a point of fact, he takes issue with little tact. Fannie Cohen, you're loved by us all. By us you stand 6 feet tall. As your sister and brother-in-law, we say you're great, and you're so lucky, Sam, to have found such a mate. The children all love you both to pieces. This includes the nephews and nieces. They know they're on their way to puberty when they reach the height of Auntie Fannie. When you look at Marvin, there's so much joy. A doctor he became, this red-headed boy. His good reputation has gone far and wide. We all love to see your look of pride. You've lived through some good and some bad. Over the years, much knockers you've had. Wonderful children and grandchildren too. You have much to be proud of, you two. We could go on with words and even a song, but this poem is already too long. So we'll close with best wishes of plenty. Fannie and Sammy, go on to 120. And he's just a wonderful doctor, respected in the entire community, and people just love him. And there's one thing that they don't tell me, but I have found this out myself. Marvin has a very good way with his patients. He's very much upfront with his patients. And just before surgery, he likes to be very frank with them. For example, he told one patient, now, Mr. Jones, this is going to be a very delicate surgery. And I must tell you that only 1 in 5 pull through the surgery. Now, before I begin, he said to Mr. Jones, is there anything I can do for you? And the patient said, yes, Doc. Please bring me my shoes and my pants. Okay. I now would like to call upon a couple of people that are very near and dear to me. They're now living in Kansas City, Missouri, something we thought that would never happen. And we're just delighted. And I'm sure